Hello and welcome back to Peaky Boardgamer. My name is Hector Rakos and for today I have a really tiny mini card game for 2 players to show you. It's Hanamikoji, designed by Kota Nakayama. This is a quite popular game that takes about 20 minutes to finish. Let's move to the table and see how the game is played. In Hanamikoji, players alternate turns playing cards from their hand using action tiles that allow for a specific card play. Using their cards, players will try to control geishas in the middle of the table by playing more item cards corresponding to a specific geisha than their opponent. At the end of every round, victory is checked, and the player who manages to control 4 or more geishas or 11 or more charm points will be declared the winner of Hanamikoji. Hanamikoji is a pure card game, so before starting with setup, I want to make a short card breakdown to see what cards are included. There are 2 types of cards. We have the larger geisha cards that players will need to control, and also we have the smaller item cards. The number depicted on geisha cards are charm points. Players gain these points only for as long as they control the corresponding geisha. The same number, however, also corresponds to the number of item cards this geisha has in the item deck. Now back to setup. At first, place the geisha cards facing upwards in the middle of the table between the 2 players. Then place 1 control marker onto each one of the geisha cards right in the middle of it. Players then choose 1 set of action tiles which is placed in front of them using the colored side facing upwards. Rules say that the younger player is the starting player, however you may also choose a player at random. The game is now ready to start. The game is played in rounds and each round has 3 phases: phase 1 deal, phase 2 action and phase 3 scoring and update. If we have a winner in the scoring phase, the game ends, so a game could last only 1 round. However, if there's no winner, we continue with the next round and this continues indefinitely until we have a winner. In the deal phase, the starting player shuffles the 21 item cards and deals 6 to each player. Players keep their hand of cards secret at all times. From the remaining cards, the player also removes 1 card which is kept secret. The rest cards remain next to geisha cards as a draw stack. Apart from the excluded card, all other cards will be used during the round. In the actions phase, players will alternate 4 player turns beginning with the starting player. On each one of these player turns, the player must first take the top item card from the draw stack and add it to their hand, and then use one of their action tiles by flipping it to the exhausted side. Player may only use unexhausted tiles. Each one of these tiles allows the playing of these cards in a specific way that I will soon explain. After the player finishes playing cards, it's the next player's turn, who will take a card and then use one of their tiles, and so on and so forth. When using this tile, the player chooses any 3 cards from their hand and offers them to their opponent. The opponent chooses any one of these 3 cards to play, and the rest 2 are played by the facing player. As you can see, each player plays their cards from their side of geisha cards, and also item cards can only be played to the corresponding geisha. As a guide, you can use the color of the cards. With this tile, the player offers 4 cards to the opponent, but split in 2 sets of 2 cards. The opponent then chooses one of the sets and plays these cards. The unchosen set is played by the facing player. When using this tile, the player secretly places one of their cards facing downwards beneath the tile. This card will be played in favor of the player, but later at the start of the scoring phase. Finally, when using this tile, the player secretly chooses 2 of their cards, again placing them facing downwards beneath the tile. What's the difference with the previous one is that these cards will not be played by any player. At the end of the action phase, the situation should be like that. Both of players will have played 7 cards from their side, both players' action tiles will be exhausted, both players have 1 secret card placed under this tile that will be played, and 2 secret cards under these tiles that will be discarded. In the scoring phase, players first reveal the played card under this tile and then play it. So this card should go here and this card should go here. Then players discard the 2 cards that they played beneath these tiles. Now it's time to check which player wins which geisha and if a player has won the game. Each geisha is won by the player who has played the most item cards during this round. We see that for the first geisha, the top player has played 3 item cards against 2 of the bottom player. Players move the control marker of the first geisha upwards to indicate that it's controlled by the top player. The bottom player wins the second geisha, so we move the control marker to the bottom. If there is a tie in item cards, like in this case here, the control marker stays in the same position on the card, so this geisha will remain uncontrolled. Important, if a geisha was already controlled from a previous round by, let's say, the bottom player, a tie would not affect the control marker and the geisha would still remain in the bottom player's control. The next geisha is controlled by the top player, the same counts for the next geisha, this one is controlled by the bottom player, and the last one remains uncontrolled. Now all of the item cards can also be discarded and it's time to check for victory. A player can win in 2 different ways, either by controlling 4 or more geishas, or by controlling geishas that total 11 or more charm points. The top player controls 3 geishas compared to 2 of the bottom player, so no player wins this round by controlling 4 or more geishas. Also, geishas controlled by the top player have a sum of 10 charm points against 6 for the bottom player. This means that no player has won this round. Control markers stay in the same position, players refresh all the action tiles, and then they begin a new round with the other player being now the starting player. Last but not least, in a situation like this that both players achieve victory together, one with points and the other one by controlling 4 or more geishas, then the player who achieved victory by points is the winner of the game. And that was a video of how to play Hanamikoji. Hope you liked the video, and if you want to see more videos like that, please subscribe to my channel. Until next time, have fun and play more board games.